Yana, it's so good to meet you properly. I've sort of been connecting with you on and off, I suppose, on Substack, and I've been following what you've been doing. I think you're doing a fantastic job on Substack. And just for anyone who's listening today, as we start off, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? So you told me where you're from just before we started this conversation, but where are you calling me from today? What kind of things are you working on? What's your background like? If you could fill our readers in for that.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. So I'm calling today from Sofia, which is in Bulgaria, a European country. I'm basically traveling a lot across our European countries because in my day job I am working I am a senior leader in a huge telecom company, and I'm
Okay.
responsible for creating products and selling products basically on subscriptions to a lot of millions of clients. And yeah,
Mhm.
I lead teams that are doing that, and that's basically what I come from. That's my background, and that's what I apply in my Substack, which I now call an online business because it's a business already to me.
Brilliant.
Um, yeah, but yeah, I decided to start writing online. I think more than 2.5 years ago, and I explored Medium, but then when Medium changed, that I realized that I cannot count on algorithms and on a rented, land, and I have to build my email lists, and that's how I came to Substack, and I'm so happy I made this decision. But yeah, I continue also using other platforms, but Substack is the very core of my business.
Mm.
And I applied everything that I know from my background. It felt home to me because it's also selling subscriptions, and it
Mm.
was like so easy. Which then I realized it's not the same. It's not the case for many other people, and then I decided to start also helping other people do the same, and
Mm. Yep.
basically monetizing my expertise. But yeah, I became a bestseller in about 3 months after I started very actively
Wow.
implementing strategy, and then it took me another, I think, another 4 months to get to my first 10K
Wow.
in annual recurring revenue, which is
Brilliant.
a great achievement for me.
It
Yeah, I'm focused on conversions and on sales because that's what I do in my 9 to 5 job, and I experimented a lot with this Substack, and it really works because I now maintain a conversion rate of about 6%.
wow.
I see that that's above average on
It
Substack.
definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I want to talk to you, Yana, because I've heard you mention this before in other conversations with other creators on podcasts or YouTube, that sort of thing. And 6% is an incredible conversion rate on Substack. I know that Substack used to say that like 5 to 10% was what people should aim for, but that's definitely not the case for most people. It's not the case for me, for sure. And everything you've said right now, it's obvious how you've got to that point. You've got all the expertise behind you that you can apply to Substack, and that's clearly working because everything you do is incredible on Substack. I'm definitely watching what you're doing very closely because it's so good. I'm sure other people are watching as well. And you got there. So did you say you got to bestseller status in 3 months? Was it
3 months, yeah.
3 months?
It's
Wow.
so I started in June last year, and up to the till the end of August, I was kind of figuring out what kind of strategy I should follow,
Mm.
and what kind of content I I should also implement in my Substack. And then by then I had some sales, but not so much, very occasional. And when I started and when I went basically all in, it was 1st of September last year, and by then I had about 20 paid subscribers, and by mid of November I got to the 100 mark.
Wow.
I was selling about 30 per month paid
Mm.
subscribers to that. And I didn't, yes, I imported about 900 subscribers, but they were subscribers that I was gaining through the years, and I never work with them. They are pretty much cold subscribers. The only active part of them were my subscribers I gained from Medium, which were about 60, not so much.
Mm.
And the conversion rate out of those subscribers is, at the beginning, it was below 1%, and currently it's about close to 2%, something like that. So it's not really a major driver to my growth. And I believe the biggest, the most, the subscribers or your audience which has the highest quality comes from organic channels. It's right now Notes is converting really well to me, which is the Substack app channel. I have there, I because I track it really closely, and I have there close to 9% conversion rate even, and then it's immediately followed by the recommendations.
Okay. And when you say you're tracking it, is that just from the stats page on Substack, or have you got a different way of tracking the conversion from Notes?
In the stats, you have a channel. I think it was no, it was network. It was network, and then you see all of your subscribers by acquisition channel, and then all of your paid subscribers by acquisition channel. But that's not really. It's a snapshot of the current state. So I take those snapshots at certain periods of time, and then I track them how they develop over time, because I'm also very much into numbers. I'm a kind of people
I can
say
tell. That's a good way to be though, because obviously, as you said, you approach Substack with a business mindset, like it's a business. It's not just like a blog you're hoping to make money from. You've got a system in place for doing that. What was the change, Yana? So whenever you started to kind of pick up more paid subscribers, what did you change about your Substack approach that maybe triggered that and sort of got that snowball effect going for you on Substack?
Yeah, in the beginning, what really pushed my paid subscriber growth was the launch of my challenges, the community features. They work really well. And then when I did some promotions pretty much every month, so people, it's working psychologically. Unfortunately, it works really well. It's not. I know some people are following a different strategy. When you sell, premium, that sounds quality and all of that, and that's really also working, but you sell less. And it's like, you have to always think about those things. When you increase the price, then you decrease the numbers, and when you and vice versa. And it depends what you're aiming for. Is it the volumes, or is it the quality? It depends what you put as benefits in your subscriptions. But yeah, it was I would identify the challenges and also my tools. I created some custom GPTs for writing and for generating titles, headlines for the long form posts, and also for generating notes. And and those custom, because I love artificial intelligence, and AI was my original idea for this Substack. And so I wanted to integrate this into my community and to my paid subscriber benefits. And those posts where I give the actual access to the actual tools and the GPTs, those are, I think, the highest converting posts as well. But then that was not, it was a temporary, I would say it was a temporary effect, because after the also many promotions on Substack after November, when it's, the Black Friday and all of that, some Cyber Monday, after that I really hit a plateau of paid subscribers growth, and then I realized that I have to do constant promotions in order to maintain the same rate of conversion rate. And then I started thinking how to do that more in a smarter way, so that I don't have to, manually every month think of new promotion, and then start and launch a new promotion and all of that, because it's a kind of a distraction. I wanted to focus on content delivery. And that's how I came up with the idea to implement an automation, a sequence. So I integrated my Substack with ConvertKit, back then NodeKit, and I launched an automation sequence, which is a welcome sequence, which is educating my new subscribers on the paid content that I have, because I also identified another flow in Substack's workflow. It's whenever you have a new subscriber joining your newsletter, it's really hard for them to, especially when you have a lot of content, it's really hard for them to get to know what you have in your paywall, in your benefits, in your paid content. So they have to go to your publication and read and they can really get lost. And besides, nobody does that because they don't have the time. So so I decided to do this, to create this sequence, and it really worked well.
Mm,
And then after this sequence, it's a 10-day sequence, which I named a Substack starter, Kickstarter crash course,
mhm,
to give it a more fancy name, because it's basically helping people to grow their first 1,000 subscribers on Substack. But also, I'm in the content, I'm integrating links to my paywall content to educate them what I have in my Substack for paid subscribers. And then
mm,
after the sequence, I have another 10-day sequence, which is designed only to sell
mm.
with a promotional price. And that's basically helping me ever since I implemented that in January. And up to now, I never had to do any promotion
Wow,
and maintain this 6% conversion rate still.
that's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Um, so so people join your Substack and then they get sent this crash course and it takes them through this sort of like 10-day sequence and then another 10-day sequence. Um, what at what point, I mean, obviously you can't be like super specific about this, but at what point in those sequences do you kind of see people starting to convert? Is it towards the start, or is it towards the end after they've been sent a lot of emails, or where's kind of the real trigger point for most people?
That's a very good question.
Mm,
I plan to create a more comprehensive analysis on that part.
mm.
But from up to now, I have looked at this, of course, because I love data.
Like the numbers.
Yeah, and the numbers. So I get people who are converting immediately, but they are immediately after subscribing, like free subscribers, and then immediately paying. But those are very, very few. And the
Mm,
majority of them usually takes them about a month or something. It depends how many interactions they have with my content. For some of them, it takes about 3 to 5 interactions, and for I think the majority of them need to really get to know what I have in my paid content and then decide, because there is certain truth in what other people say with promotions. It's not the price that sells, and the
mm,
decrease of the price. It helps, of course, but it's not that. It's more about how you communicate the value that you're having in your Substack, and how you package it and how you present it, basically. Not even the actual value that you deliver, but more how you present it
okay.
to the people. So I would say, I think it's about maybe an average of 10 interactions. But what time is it? It depends on the subscriber themselves, because it depends how much time they spent on Substack.
Mm. Okay. And when you're talking about presenting the value of your publication, how do you do that really effectively? So what's worked really well for you in terms of showing potential paid subscribers what they're going to get if they upgrade?
Yeah.
Beyond just showing them like the articles that they'll get, how do you really present that kind of value proposition that's going to be really enticing?
Yeah, it's that's a classical rule in the subscription business, in the sales as well. So it's never about the features that you have, or what you have, and in the value, not so much. I mean, they have to know what is it, but it's more about what does it do for them,
Mm,
and what do you help them achieve, and in what time, and what happens after that. So I make sure that I um, help people understand and see this subscription as more as an investment that will pay back for itself in a certain period of time,
mm.
and not so much as something that they pay for and get access to something, because that's not really
Mm. Yeah,
it's
that's a
yeah.
good way of putting it. I think if you can always frame it as, yeah, you're going to make your money back in this in no time, just through the value that you offer. Yeah, so
Yeah.
effective. I think that's something maybe people kind of get bogged down in terms of their Substack paid tier offers. It's all about what they get as part of it. So they try to pack as much into it as possible. I think that the more things that are inside their paid tier, the more likely it is people will convert. But as you say, it's more about the transformation people get from being in the paid tier.
Yeah.
How are they going to be different after they joined it and that sort of thing, which is such a key aspect of selling anything, selling a product, selling a book, selling a subscription,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Um, and Yara, in terms of Yana, sorry, in terms of other things you're working on. So I'm looking at your profile here as I'm speaking to you, and you're talking about building the Creative Tech Hub as a growth accelerator for writers and content creators What's all that about? Tell us what the Creative Tech Hub is.
Yeah, that's something that it's not launched yet. But yeah, I want to build a space where I give them also access to a lot of other tools that I cannot give access on Substack.
Mm,
Um, and I have a partner in that. We are building this together. But I also myself, I am also studying artificial intelligence and Python programming, and I
oh,
want to build some automations and some artificial intelligence based tools for creators to help make their life easier. Which is my original idea, is to build them for myself, of course, and
mm,
if they help me to speed up the content delivery, to increase quality, to decrease the time that I have to invest in this, and also help increase income and revenues, then if that proves, then I will also enable them for the community. And
mm,
usually my paid subscribers will have access to that. But yeah, that's something yet to come.
mm,
Currently, I need, before that I need to to deliver the entire content on something I started in March. It's called Substack Quest.
mm,
It's about how to grow your Substack, and that's something that I'm focused to finish. Because I don't want to stay only on Substack. I would like to go beyond that and really dig deeper into artificial intelligence and also automation, which is my passion, and
mm,
help people use that more effectively and the right way.
mm.
Um,
Yeah. What is the right way? So in terms of how you use artificial intelligence on Substack, how is it acting as a tool and a resource for you at the minute?
yeah. So yeah, AI gained a bit of a negative connotation lately because a lot of people are not using it the right way. Unfortunately, they're just, typing something, even trying to figure out the right prompt, and then getting some content and then just copy and paste entirely without even editing and without even thinking about what exactly are you saying with this type of sentence or paragraph,
Mm,
unfortunately. And then that's the lowest low quality that you can get out of AI, and it comes out of AI because most people are not giving enough context to the AI
mm,
to generate a higher quality content. And it's not even prompt engineering. It's actually it's more. That's why I'm using GPTs, and there is a new trend coming up emerging in AI, and that's called agents.
mm,
Because right now artificial intelligence is not at the level of human intelligence yet. So it's very good for small tasks and very specific tasks. So the more specific you are in the conversation with the AI, the higher quality you get out of it.
mm,
And it basically, I trained my GPTs to get insights and ideas out of my content, and also from the prompt that I give it. So it's still my ideas, my approach, my data, my proof, and my everything comes from me. I just use AI to do the type.
research. Yeah.
The research as well, yeah, the
Mm,
research as well whenever I need it, but also the typing, the thing that takes too much time to do it manually.
mm,
But all of the other things are coming from me, and that's the right way to use it. It's
mm,
just be more specific and lead a conversation with AI, not just one single prompt.
mm. I've been using it more recently as well, and to try and frame the things that I do. So one thing I've been experimenting with recently is very much having a conversation with it. So I'll use the voice feature and I'll just basically talk to ChatGPT. Sounds really weird to say it this way, but I'll talk to it and say, this is the kind of article I want to write. This is the topic. This is the main core of what I want it to be about. Here are the main points I want to hit. This is what I want to explain to my audience and help them achieve. I'll basically give it an absolute ton of context, like so much information. And then it will give me a framework for that article. So then I'll have this really, really detailed, in-depth framework that will help my audience. Basically, then I just go and I write the parts in between and write the actual content. But it's so effective in terms of sitting down and just having a system you can work your way through and produce a really good, effective article that's really
Yeah.
going to help people. And then that's the kind of content I'm trying to create right now. I think you're right. I think some people just think they can just say, "Oh, write me an article about this," and then it spits out some really generic thing, and then they just paste that, and then it's not useful to anybody. I think if you give it more context, as you say, then it's such a powerful tool. How do you, Yana, use AI to understand what your audience need? So understand their pain points and their struggles. How do you use it to research within your own audience?
I love that question. It's actually key to
Mm.
get more quality, higher quality content and output out of AI. So we have a joke, by the way, in my 9 to 5. It's very popular among the developers communities. It's called shitty input, shitty output. when you give not enough context to the AI, then you get the shitty output. So an audience is the insight for the audience is really really key. And yeah, I have a file where I put insights about my audience. So I collect everything that I find valuable and put it in that file. And whenever I need to have a conversation with AI, I just upload that file and ask it to get insights about my audience out of this file. And
Mm.
this file collects basically what are my so basically the goals of my audience, aspirations, but also fears and challenges and frustrations.
Mm.
Because when you solve an actual problem with your content, and that makes it really valuable.
Mm.
And how do I collect? Yeah, in the chats, basically in the comments, people tell you a lot of things if you start asking,
Mm.
basically. And I also see you have some posts in your content, and that is really a good way to collect some additional information and some statistics. I also have in my welcome emails in Substack for all of the subscribers, free, paid, everyone, I have a set of questions that is which are addressing exactly this. And some people answer, and I simply collect. And
Mm. Yeah, yeah, I do similar thing. Yeah, as you say, I put polls in my posts every week, and I use the Substack survey feature as well, so I've got that put in a couple of places, and I'll try and gather information. As you said, not everybody will do it, but some people will, and they'll give you some really valuable data. And one thing I experimented with as well was going through the chat threads that I have, and basically in a kind of cumbersome way, taking those conversations and putting them into eventually getting them into ChatGPT, and then just saying like draw out the main struggles that my audience are going through here. And it was able to give me a really comprehensive list of things they were struggling with, their aspirations, as you say, and their goals. And then I was able to then use that to frame a few article titles that I was going to write. Excuse me. So I think it's really effective if you're struggling, for anybody who's listening to this, to understand what your audience want. The first thing is to ask them. So use polls, use chat threads, posts, whatever, and then find a way of putting that into an AI system that will analyze it and then give you the best possible topics you can address for your audience. And I think that's the kind of content that your audience will pay for. That's the kind of stuff that they'll see a paywall and they want to pay because they want to see what the rest of the article says or whatever. And that's the difference between an article that someone can just breeze past and not want to read, and one that they have to read. And if they don't read it, they're gonna feel they're missing out on something. And Yana, I think you're really good as well at just connecting with your audience. So you're obviously posting notes all the time, and those notes are popping off quite a lot too and doing really well. And you're really good at connecting and understanding your audience. What advice would you give to somebody who's maybe struggling with that? So they're struggling to find ways to engage and really get that feedback from their audience that they can then use to craft really good content. What would you say is a good way to go about that?
yeah, we just simply understand your audience and make sure that you address those frustrations and pains and problems in every piece of content. So about notes, I really like that you touch that. And your notes are really good as well, and you
Thanks.
grew your audience amazingly fast as well. And yeah, and I make sure, so I treat notes like the top of my funnel. And my notes are connected to my content in my newsletter, and I make sure that I solve a micro problem or a micro frustration in each and every note. Maybe a lot of them are touching the same problem, but from different angles. But yeah, it's that's how I make sure to have this in my notes, and people simply connect because it's already derived out of their problems and frustrations and goals, inspirations. But other than that, if you don't have enough engagement on your notes, then probably it's either your audience is too small yet, and you have to engage more on other people's content, like for example other notes and posts, and also subscribe and recommend other people, and also interact with the chats as well, stay active in other communities as well, and so that you gain more exposure of your profile and people start seeing you more often besides your notes, and then they start subscribing, and then that's how you grow organically. But if you do have an audience and you don't have engagement on your notes, then it's something about the content, definitely, that has to change. It just has to be more relevant to the audience. It's either your content, or probably you don't have the right audience if you want to address the very same topics in notes. It's mismatch between the audience and the content. That's what I think that's the biggest problem that that people have when they're struggling with engagement.
How important do you think branding is at this point for writers on Substack? Because I notice you've got a framed picture there in the background, which I think is your logo from Unplugged, sitting on the shelf behind you, and everything about your Substack is very on brand. There's a lot of pink and those kind of colors in it, and all matches up really nicely. How important do you think that is for writers now? Because I'm not sure everyone thinks about this enough. They just kind of post stuff and hope for the best. What's your opinion about branding?
I think it's important. It builds trust on a subconscious level, which is really, really important. And it's not, you don't have to go too sophisticated about that and go, think about very and try to create some complex brand books and voice and tone and I don't know, things that the big brands are doing. You don't have to do that, but just stick to one and the same color and one and the same style in your images. And if you can, just create your images yourself with some graphics. And there are a lot of good examples on Substack about that. Then that's something that would, it's just the whole point is when people see something from you, so that they can immediately recognize that that's you and not anybody else. And that's important. I would say that's important, definitely.
Yep, I think so too. I think writers having their own kind of brand that people can connect with immediately is so key now, because as we know, AI can produce a lot of stuff, and it's going to get better at producing things. I think at some point we're going to see completely artificial intelligence led publications on Substack and beyond as well. And it's going to be very hard to differentiate. And I think the more we can humanize ourselves and be authentic, and have those really clear brands with our faces in them as well, I think that's really important. What was I going to ask you? I have another question I need to ask you about. Yeah, so in terms of, we're going to just kind of go back to this a little bit about income generation on Substack and that sort of thing. Talk us through kind of, you've obviously already talked about the way you have like a flow and everything for what you're doing. What does it look like for creating an ecosystem on Substack that keeps people in your paid community so they don't just kind of drop in briefly for a couple of months and then leave again? How do you kind of keep paid subscribers retained within your publication for the long term?
Yeah, that's a very good question as well. First thing that I'm doing is make sure that more people are joining on the annual tier. Just because I need them to stay a little bit longer so that they can see everything that I have in my paid subscription. And then the next thing, which I think is much more important, is to make sure that your paid tier is delivering not just text content, but also has community features. So you engage with your audience and make sure that you provide this space for them to interact with each other. And that is why I decided to run my challenges regularly every month. And I have two challenges, one for notes and one for writing, for posts. And that's one thing that that creates this sense of belonging, so that people are not only attached to you personally as a creator or your newsletter, but also to the community that you create.
Mm.
And a lot of people are meeting each other in my community and create relationships and collaborations, and that's really amazing. So when you're able to create this space, then that's one thing that keeps people in your paid tier. The other thing is to keep delivering. So you have to make your subscription a necessity.
Mm.
This is something I heard this from I think it was Sarah Fay who said it the first time I heard it on Substack, but it's very, very true. And it's also what I know from my 9 to 5 job. It's all about retention. That's the name of the game, basically, because see, a lot of us are focused on growth, like on sales and growth, but that's only the first year. Once you get to the second year and to the third year, you will see that retention is much more important than sales. And that's where you need to focus, and it's all about relationships. So the experience after the subscription is really, really important. How you interact with your paid subscribers, what kind of benefits and value you deliver to them, and also your personal connection with them as well. I also have some people told me I'm crazy, that I'm giving too much. At some point, I also thought I'm crazy because because I have my 9 to 5 job and it's a full-time job. But I was brave enough to give a 30-minute call, a strategy call in my paid subscription, not only in my founding tier, for
I saw
people
that. Mm.
yeah, to talk to me. And I was surprised. In the beginning, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, what will I do if everybody wants to see me? I have no time for this. But the truth is that people really appreciate having that,
Mm.
but not very much. Just few of them are actually taking advantage of it.
Mm.
And it's something that increases your perceived value, but the actual cost of delivery is very, very low.
Mm. Yes, I've done that before too in the past where I've done promotions and I've offered like a 30-minute or whatever call, and you get very little uptake on it in many ways. It's a good converter, as you say, but not that many people actually want to do it in the end. But the ones who do it, the conversations you have are amazing, and you get so much out of it. Like you learn so much about them and about what your audience in general want, and it sparks these brilliant ideas. Like I had a conversation with somebody. I used to do these like free webinars followed by a paid workshop, and I might still do that as well in future. And I remember once there was like one person turned up for the paid workshop bit, and I was like, "Oh, this is frustrating. There's only one person here." But the conversation we had was fantastic, and it actually ended up birthing this other brilliant idea for something I want to do in future. And from the one conversation, which might actually be a much more lucrative tier above what I'm currently offering at the minute. So, those conversations, though they're few and far between, are so impactful for you as a creator. And as you say, they're a great incentive for people to upgrade as well.
Yeah.
Um, what way do your challenges work, Yana? I don't want to keep you too much longer, by the way. I know you've probably got things to do, but whenever you say you run these challenges, what does that look like for your subscribers?
Yeah. I so every month I am relaunching these challenges on the first of the month, and the notes challenge is about writing notes, and I'm adapting those challenges, two of them, with as we evolve and as the platform changes as well. And whenever I identify something new to be working, I also add it to the challenge. So it's not just a challenge. So I'm not only just asking them to write something and post it, but I also create this space for them to interact and to help each other, boost the initial. Whenever you post a new note, you have to have some engagement so that the algorithm can grasp it and
Mm.
start distributing it to what I call it outside of your bubble. So I create this space like sharing posts, and I post them every week for my paid subscribers to make sure that they have the space to interact with each other and read and
Mm.
help each other grow, for notes and also for posts. I give them, actually, for the notes challenge, I also just recently created a course. It's a 3-hour course, which I call the viral notes writer system, which also includes my GPT for notes.
Mm.
And that's something that helps me. It helped me grow, basically triple my subscriber growth. And it also helped some of my paid members, basically the most active paid members and the most, those who take this
Mm.
seriously as a business, to really increase their subscriber growth. So I compiled it in a course and gave them the whole strategy, everything that they need to do on Notes in order to grow, and also adapted it for people who are just starting with small audiences. So
Mm.
it's not just a challenge, do this so that you grow and that's it. It's also a training. There is a course material and also additional value that I give there, and that's changing every time. As every time that I find something new to be working, I add it to these challenges.
Brilliant.
And also the custom GPT, it's trained from so I was collecting viral notes from creators with smaller audiences. And for
Mm.
viral, I mean, I think I took above 500 likes or 400 likes or something like that. So to make sure that it's really about the algorithm and not so much on the audience of the creator.
Mm.
And I constantly update the training of this GPT. And that's so those challenges are evolving.
Mm.
And the writing challenge, it's based on my quest, on the Substack quest. And it's every month I have a theme for this challenge, and I ask people to incrementally grow and develop and improve their writing in a way through
Mm.
the lessons from the quest. And it's
Brilliant.
also, so that's how I also connect my paid content with the challenges, and so that they don't feel like something separate. I
Mm.
think it's important as well.
Mm. That's fantastic. And when you say you post things for your subscribers to engage with, is that within Substack or is that like a separate platform space that you use for that?
No, it's within Substack.
Right.
It's a post. It's a weekly post where they can share in the comments and read also the comments and the shares from the other members and interact with each other. I also
Mm.
use the chat. I started using the chat to share these notes just for people who, you don't look their emails very often, to be able to also interact with the chats
Very
as well.
good. That's very clever.
Yeah.
No, it's brilliant, brilliant, Anna. I'm just gonna ask you two more questions, and we'll finish. So first of all, what have you got coming up on the horizon? So you talked about creative tech hub, obviously, but in terms of Substack, have you got any kind of big plans in the works for the next few months that you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah. I would I would like to finish the quest first, so the quest is I call it a quest because I see Substack as a quest for launching your Substack or relaunching your Substack. So even if you have an up and running Substack, but you want to optimize for conversion rate, for example, this thing will help you definitely. But it starts with mindset, and then it starts basically with the defining very clearly your target audience and what are you going to sell. Because I see this is a huge mistake. People are addressing Substack from a different angle. They start first growing their audiences and then struggle with conversions, and I think that's the main reason why. Because you might be in a place where you realize that you have grown the wrong audience for whatever you are trying to sell in your paid tier. So you start with the offer first, and then go with growing your audience, and then conversions, and then retentions, and that's kind of a quest that I have built. So in the near future, I want to finish that, and after that, I have some plans to introduce some new content on artificial intelligence and automations. And also I have a partner for my Substack who will be, I hope he will be able to join soon. He's also in my 9 to 5, and he's a web developer.
Mm.
It's a genius guy. And he will be joining my publication, and we'll be talking. So we will create most probably a dedicated section, a mini newsletter within my newsletter for him. So everybody who wants to and is interested to build their own websites, apps, no code tools, and things like that, they can also have that. And the
Nice.
hub, that's that's what follows this
Brilliant.
year. Yeah.
Loads going on. That's brilliant. And very exciting for you guys.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And Yana, just as we finish today, can you leave our listeners and our viewers just with one sort of golden nugget of advice in terms of if they want to turn their Substack into like a business and actually generate income from it on a regular basis? What's one piece of advice you would leave them with today?
Yeah, it's to put it shortly, I would say don't be afraid to sell.
Mm.
It's really, I know it's very difficult, but it's just if you reframe it and look at sales as if you're helping people, it's actually a necessity and other people are expecting it for you. And I recently got a comment from one of my paid subscribers who says that if I never offered, so if I didn't sell, that they wouldn't be able to find me, but they're thankful that I did, because now they have so much, they did learn so much, and I helped them grow so much. So it's really, it's the one thing that you will start hearing, but you have to make that step. You have to sell.
Mm.
And in order to turn it into a business, start with the product,
Mm.
start with what you want to sell first. It's
Okay.
really important.
Brilliant. I think that's something people need to hear these days. I think we're all kind of a little bit scared to sell as writers, so I think we need to move past that point and definitely build businesses out of what we're doing. But Jana, thank you so much. Really good to chat to you today. I really enjoyed this conversation. It's very enlightening, for me and for other people who are going to be listening and watching this. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you're up to.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It was really, I also enjoyed our conversation, and I hope it's very valuable to your audience as well.
It definitely will be. Thank you so much.